Okay, chapter 44, the last and final chapter. Wherever you are. As I write to you now, Ruku, I travel back. I feel the rain on our backs as you crouch on the road trying to save worms. I hear you humming Dakuti, holding him close in your comforting arms as a firework explodes on Diwali night. I see your proud smile as you hand the balloon vendor your very own money at the beach. I see your tongue between your teeth as you concentrate on finishing the bead necklace. I see your fingertips as you hold the orange the gardener threw at us. I see you fling your beloved doll at the river to defend me from danger. I hear you and Mutu belly laughing together on our bridge. Your laugh was so strong it makes me smile even now just remembering. Writing is an odd thing. Writing today in this book, I realize I sometimes saw things the wrong way around when they were happening. All this while, I thought I had looked after you. But now I see it was often the opposite. You gave me strength by never letting me get away with a lie, by showing me small miracles, by laughing at all the wrong times. Together, we were such a good team. And now I'll keep trying, Ruku, to carry your laughter with me and march forward. To love you, but live in today, not in yesterday. Moving ahead doesn't mean leaving you behind. I finally understand that. And I guess how you live matters more than how long you live. Every happy moment we had, every bit of love we shared still glows. We're together in my heart and always will be. So, I'm living with my whole heart, Ruku, and imagining with my whole mind. Imagining Lalitha, my new friend, all grown up, living on her own, laughing away with Arul and Mutu. Imagining me all grown up too as a teacher at last. Imagining you drinking cold, bubbly soda in a nice, fancy place and burping louder than Mutu ever could. Imagining you can hear me say, I love you, Ruku. Imagining so hard I can almost feel you patting me again. See you beaming, hear you saying, Ruku loves Fiji. Right back. Whew. Ay. That's the end of the book. What a beautiful book. And that chapter is so hard for me to read. I thought it was hard to read just when I was in front of people, but it's even hard just sitting here in my room and trying to do it. It's so emotional. Okay, so I'm actually going to read parts of something though. The author left notes about how she came up with this story, and I think they're pretty cool to read and kind of important. So now this is no longer the story. This is the author telling her story of the book and of her life. As I was growing up in India, my mother was the only single mom I knew. Despite our own fraught economic situation, means they were kind of poor, she always devoted time and energy to charitable causes, especially those that provided education for children who were even less privileged than I was. Early in my life, I was introduced to the work done by the Concern for Working Children, an organization that has now grown and become established and been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. I also spent time at the village school in Nilba, a night school for children of fisherfolk, and a school for Roma children, and I met people involved with organizations such as Mobile Crochets, CRI, and Bal Bhavan. So the author met all these people that were trying to help children forced to work. Even when she was a kid, she knew these people. Even after I moved to the United States, I remained interested in issues confronting children who lack so many of the privileges that I now have. In recent years, along with my mother, my late aunt Visalam, and my aunt Renuka, and my uncle Subira, I have had pleasure of visiting other schools and homes in India where children are often offered support and assistance, such as the V Excel Educational Trust. Selina Auntie's Refuge in the book is based on these homes and schools. Despite all the good work that is done, however, many children face problems that result from a lack of understanding, a lack of resources, or a lack of compassion. This story largely draws on first-person accounts of what real children have undergone. In writing it, I not only interviewed adults and children, but also relied very heavily on detailed journal accounts. Many children visited us and confided in my mother, sometimes deeply questioning the existence of a higher power. And I faithfully recorded the tales they told about their struggles and diaries that I kept until I left India in my late teens. Viji's character is modeled in part on a young girl called Indira, who referred to herself as my Akka and often spent long evenings with my mother, recounting her early life and the terrible trials she had faced. The characters of Ruku, Arul, and Mutu are also based on children I knew. And many of the incidents in the novel are drawn from first-person accounts, so stories people told that she knew. So many of the things that happened in the book were from stories that people had told her. Out of respect for the real people on whom this story is based, I felt I could not change fundamental events that took place if I truly wished to honor their memories and their lives. In India, a staggering number of children, millions, are homeless. In cities, it is commonplace to see homeless children younger than Mutu eking out a living on the streets as best they can. Some children run away because of domestic violence, as Viji does, hoping to find a better life. Others are abandoned. Homeless children often face discrimination based on caste, gender, disability, ethnicity, and so on. Many of these children are proud of earning an independent living, and they fight fiercely to hold on to their fragile freedom. A common form of work in India for kids is sifting through trash to salvage and sell recyclable material. Rag picker children may earn less than $1 a day. And although the exchange rate from dollars to rupees varies, and the cost of articles also fluctuates greatly in India, these children are always paid hardly anything for their work, and they are forced to live on shockingly little. Unfortunately, these children are in constant danger of being forced into even more terrifying situations. Many seek to enslave and abuse them. Hunger and poverty are not issues that affect South Asia alone. They are global problems that millions of children and adults face. In many parts of the world, children suffer without any end in sight, and without proper food, clothing, housing, and education. They are frequently subjected to violence. As I wrote this novel, I also became increasingly aware of the plight of children in the United States, and even in my home state of Rhode Island, where some children still experience problems as basic as hunger and homelessness. Many children remain strong despite suffering even more severely than the four in this novel. And this book is written with the hope that children everywhere will someday live in a world that treasures and nurtures them. This book. It's so emotional. Oh. Okay, so I think you see why we read this book now. It's a wonderful story. It's exciting. It's adventuresome, but it's also important. And I think you can also see why the Human Rights Unit was such a big deal, right? The struggles that people are facing right now are so horrible, but also unfair. And I think it's extremely important that we know about it, that we know about the things that people don't have. So we can make choices, right? Better choices to help people, to stand up for people. Okay. So what I want you to do today, we're going to take a couple days to kind of talk about the bridge home. But today we're going to do a Flipgrid. And in your Flipgrid, I just want you to list some themes from this book. And remember, a theme is like a lesson or a big idea you think the author wanted to teach you. And to me, it's such a long book that I think there's 6, 7, 8, 9 themes that kept coming up. Like, I think there's a theme that decisions can sometimes be the right decision and the wrong decision at the same time. I think there's many times in the book where that's proven, right? I think it was the right decision to leave home for Viji and Haruko. They weren't going to have a good life there. They were going to have no shot at fulfilling their dreams or being happy. But it also cost Ruku her life. So that's what a theme is. An idea or a lesson or an opinion the author's trying to tell us. That's just one theme. And I'm really curious about what themes you can come up with. And I'm going to watch all of your Flipgrids and I'm going to make a list of them. And we're going to use them for a creative project.